This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. Got a good one for you this week. Mark Seger is a farmer in Union County, but he's also a project manager with the Ohio Department of Transportation. He had ODOT colleagues and officials to his farm to talk about how some of the infrastructure projects that could be in place in the near future could impact farmers in that area. Great conversation, fascinating results from that farm visit from ODOT. We'll talk with Mark a little bit more about it coming up in this podcast. And Ryan Conklin with Wright and More chimes in about if it's a legal problem or a people problem. Fantastic conversation about three very different scenarios that are pretty familiar in agriculture, and we'll find out his thoughts on those scenarios and whether it's a people problem or a legal problem coming up in just a bit. But first, attention farmers, it's time to enroll in H2 Ohio. Registration now open in the 14 counties of the Maumee River watershed. Easier than ever to sign up. The program's expanding opportunities for new and existing producers. You can earn incentives to implement best management practices on your farmland. What you do on your land makes a difference, and you can help keep Ohio's water clean. Reach out to your local Soil and Water Conservation District for more information. The Ohio Farm Bureau podcast continues after this. Since 1919, Ohio Farm Bureau has been working for you, advocating for farm families, for Ohio agriculture, and our local communities. From the State House in Columbus, all the way to Washington, D.C., Ohio Farm Bureau is feeding your need for new ideas. As we look towards the future and the changes coming along with it, one thing will never change: our mission. Working together for Ohio farmers to advance agriculture and strengthen our communities. Learn more and become a member today at ohiofarmbureau.org. Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins in Union County, visiting with Farm Bureau member Mark Seger, and he had a chance to do something pretty special here on the farm, because not only is he a farmer here in Union County, but he's also a project manager with the Ohio Department of Transportation in District 6, which is right around this part of the state. And Mark, as we talk about ODOT and farmers, there's a lot of talk these days about new projects coming along and how some projects may not fit what farmers need in order to get through and get the job done. And this is really a unique opportunity to have some colleagues out from ODOT to kind of see what you do and get a feel for just the size and scope of the equipment you use.
That's correct. We had a lot of our engineers, in-house design engineers, our project managers. They work on safety projects, whether they be roundabouts, could be repaving projects, bridge projects, guardrail projects to protect against culverts and things. So the opportunity to come out and to see the requirements for widths with equipment was a good thing that I could do, and a fun day to have with them. So.
Yeah, they got to ride with them in the combine. They got to actually maneuver the tractor with the implement behind them and try to get around a couple of these cones to see just how tight that fit is every once in a while on the roads. I think it was eye-opening. I think even I being here, having some conversations with ODOT representatives really kind of started the ball rolling, I think, in a pretty good direction, hopefully for this part of the state and the rest of Ohio.
Oh, I agree. I think that we've been working on, when I first started here 2 years ago and we started talking about roundabouts, they asked about farm equipment, and I was like, hey, this is something I know about. I was able to talk to them. I was like, no, your templates aren't wide enough. You gotta have a tractor, a field cultivator, a rolling basket in combination to make that right turn. You know, what is it? Those light poles are in the way, or those types of things where we need to have a graded berm and such. So just to expose them to that equipment and the actual size of it was a good thing, I think.
Roundabouts are popping up pretty quickly across Ohio, and in this part of the state in particular, you're in charge of a couple of those projects. What goes into that, and how was your input taken into account when these new designs were made?
So, well, it all goes into it. They look at the safety. That's usually what drives the roundabout, is, you know, how many collisions are we having at that intersection. Then we look at, you're going to look at what right-of-way acquisitions required to do it, and then how can we best fit it in there to minimize that. What impacts are going to be to houses or driveways and those types of things. Other utilities, how many we're going to have to move and where, drainage, those types of things. Then we're going to be looking at the cars, semis, lowboy semis going through them. You know, when they go over that apron, can they actually get a low deck semi going through there to clear that? And then I've been pushing to look at combines, Again, that combination, tillage equipment with a tractor, and then also an auger, because that'll really dictate where you put your signs and your light poles on a project.
It's all about education with Farm Bureau. Everything we do is about education. And I think today we even had a couple of people say, you know, we want Farm Bureau at the table. We want to have those conversations about how these roundabouts look, how these new projects look, because infrastructure is going to need to be upgraded across the state. We have houses just down the road popping up as fast as cornfields here in this part of Ohio, and really all parts of Ohio. But Farm Bureau being a part of this conversation, pretty important, not just for this part of the state, but for the entire state.
I agree. Farm Bureau's been a big supporter, and I know our deputy director has encouraged me to invite Farm Bureau out to this event, and I'm glad that he did. It was a good thing to have you guys come out with us today. So,
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the crops. We're just a couple of days out from getting into the field. How are things looking here?
I think we're going to end up with an average year. Started out pretty tough with a dry May. We caught a late rain in August, which I think is really going to help the beans and the corn. But I think we'll end up about average as I'm looking at her walking the fields the last few weeks.
Very fortunate to have Mark Seger with us from Union County, and even more fortunate that he's a project manager with the Ohio Department of Transportation, trying to let them know exactly what farmers across the state need as we continue to see more and more projects pop up all around Ohio. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Here in our state, there's an energy at work, a drive to help people live healthier lives with confidence. But it can't be done alone. That's why our healthcare, business, and community leaders have joined together to help people here feel more empowered by their healthcare, leading to improved long-term health and savings. A health plan for small businesses in the agricultural industry was created by the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation. It provides members the tools, resources, and financial protection to feel confident in their healthcare decisions. By sharing responsibilities, we help build healthier employees and communities, driving down costs, connecting members digitally to Anthem's diverse network of local resources, participating in health literacy, easing administrative burdens. Joining the plan means you're part of making healthcare work better, giving people the confidence to make anything possible. To learn more about how the plan can work for your business, visit our website or call your broker or Anthem sales representative.
Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ty Higgins. Ryan Conklin, an attorney with Wright and Moore, joins us this week. And Ryan, I feel like we need some sort of game show music for our conversation today as we play America's favorite new game, People Problem or Legal Problem. And this is a lesson you learned in your business enterprises course a few years back.
It is. It's a great lesson learned, and also a great game show format. And Ty, I think you make a fantastic host for this show as well. But I'm not going to try and come up with any theme music whatsoever.
Just give me a long, skinny microphone and we'll be good to go for our TV broadcast for sure. So let's play People Problem or Legal Problem. I'll give you a scenario. You kind of tell me how you feel about which one of those categories it falls into. So scenario one, very common. A family has two kids. They want a farm. Mom and dad want to do some succession planning, including the creation of a new farm business and division of land. But the two children don't get along, should not be in business together. Mom and dad don't have enough land or assets to sustain two independent farm operations. Is this, Ryan Conklin, a people problem or a legal problem?
And Ty, I think this is a people problem. In terms of the legal solutions that this family is staring down, things like structuring a farm business or establishing a succession plan or transitioning that ownership over time or control of the business over time. Those are all very manageable legal problems. You know, those are ones that really capable legal counsel should be able to do without a ton of difficulty. But the piece about the two children not getting along, you know, that's what's really going to be the holdup in this plan. If we can't get those two siblings on the same page, moving forward in a unified direction for the farm, I think it's really going to create some challenges for mom and dad to try and figure out how to structure that plan with siblings that don't get along.
Okay, scenario number two. Two siblings have farmed together for years. One sibling has a daughter that would like to farm. The other sibling has two kids that don't want to farm in the future. The parties need to figure out a buyout solution for the one sibling so the farm can survive and provide some money for the non-farming children. Is this a people problem or a legal problem?
Yeah, this one I kind of I'll cheat here a little bit, hopefully within the confines of our rule book here for the new game show. I think this is a little bit of both, and this is something that we see pretty frequently in farm succession planning, where two siblings, two brothers, brother and sister, two sister, whoever, whatever combination you want to pick there, but they farmed for years together, and they're looking at the next generation, seeking that person who's going to take it over for them. And maybe on one side of the family, there is a farming heir, somebody clearly who wants to make that their profession. But on the other side, there really isn't. So for the person in that equation who does not have any farming children, they really have the toughest spot because on one hand, they're wanting to preserve their life's work, and it might be in a niece or nephew. But on the other hand, they're also trying to ensure that their spouse or their children who aren't on the farm still receive a strong inheritance and can enjoy also that life's work just in a different context. So as long as we get that sibling on board with trying to figure out a plan for that niece or nephew, then I think we're more in the legal problems territory. But if it goes the other direction, we might have a combination of both.
We were playing blackjack. We call that a push. You went right in the middle there. So
Yes.
we'll call it both. Scenario number three is really a doozy, Ryan. So a wife is widowed, prepared to remarry. Her three kids worried about the future stepfather taking assets accumulated by their late father. The wife's not interested in a prenup to protect the family farm. Is this a people problem or a legal problem?
Yeah, I think this is getting more into a people problem once again. Time. If we're looking at mother in this scenario, potentially remarrying, we've got children from first marriage, really just trying to protect what their father built before he passed away, and trying to ensure that the family farm or that the business does not get exposed unnecessarily to stepchildren or to that second spouse. So, I mean, they proposed a very reasonable legal solution. That's one that we would look for pretty frequently in farm succession with a second marriage situation. But right now it doesn't sound like mom is on board with it. So, really, I think that's a dynamics issue between mother and children and that future stepfather. Again, I going back to our first situation, I think the legal solutions here are very doable. With competent legal counsel, but getting all the parties on the same page really seems like the challenge.
I know that you and your team have been through all three of these scenarios, and I have to imagine that there's a balance of your role as a legal practitioner and that personal counselor. Is that another part of your job maybe you didn't expect going into your career?
Absolutely. I was talking with a friend over the weekend about how maybe some fundamental counseling or fundamental therapy courses would really be beneficial for practitioners in the legal profession, accounting, financial services, insurance. Whether you choose to or not, you might often find yourself sitting there trying to counsel someone on a topic that has nothing to do with the law and everything to do with some of these people problems that we've discussed. Trying to repair dynamics or trying to repair fractured relationships in families. We find ourselves sitting in that position all the time. And in an area that's so emotional and so difficult to navigate, like farm family dynamics and their succession plans, you really have to be able to blend both of those worlds together, being able to find legal solutions, but also counsel someone through those people problems.
Ryan Conklin, an attorney with Wright and more. You can read more about these people or legal problems in our Ohio Farm Bureau's publication over the next several months. And I'm sure, Ryan, the conversation between you and I on this topic matter will continue as well here on the podcast. Appreciate your time. Thank you for the insights. And this was a fun little game. I'm not sure it's as good of a family night game as maybe Yahtzee or Monopoly, but still fun nonetheless.
Yeah, we'll see if Game Show Network decides to pick this up sometime.
That'll do it for this Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. Like what you hear or see, make sure and like, subscribe, or follow wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Ty Higgins. Thanks for listening. We'll see you down the road.